Hey everybody, Denise says we need to spice it up, so we're gonna get spicy. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Renewed Homestead. Ben and Denise here, and we mentioned this a while back, and you said you wanted to see more, so let's talk about our friendly Spicebush. We've got lots of it, and you know, the more we looked into it, because you know, we heard you could use it for a number of things, we learned a lot about it. You can use it for all kinds of things, and yes, it's that time. The bugs are back.
The North Carolina hello?
Yes, North Carolina hello.
So the Spicebush actually has many properties. Easy way that you can identify it in the early spring, and we were waiting. So this normally buds into these beautiful yellow flowers. We have had a crazy spring. So it's gone from really cold to really warm to really cold to really warm again. And they aren't budding as early as they normally do. Normally, these are one of the first plants to bloom, providing that nectar for our pollinators. So normally you'll see these beautiful yellow berries. You can also see the leaves are usually oblong and green. They are opposite. And one of the easiest ways you can tell, if you crush the leaf, it has a very, very spicy aroma to it. Yeah. Now the Spicebush is dioecious. Now dioecious basically means that you need a male plant and you need a female plant to produce berries. If you only have male or you only have female, you're not going to get the berries. They ripen about the same time as apples do in the fall, and it creates this stunning, gorgeous, glossy red berry. So when you look at the Spicebush in spring and you look at the Spicebush in the fall, I mean, it's truly God's artistry at work. It really is a beautiful plant. One of the cool things about the Spicebush is you can see these little nodules on the bark, and that's actually how it breathes. It actually respirates, so it's actually really cool to see that. Yeah. And you have to be careful putting your hands around it like that. If you hold it tight, because it does breathe, if you hold tight, you can watch the leaves turn purple. Or not. All right, well, we're back and the bugs are worse over here. All we did was turn you around. We started recording there. We've got a big Spicebush there. Got one here. These will get 6 to 12 feet tall. And they are very prolific, but they enjoy moist soil, and they prefer partial shade. You really won't find these out in a clearing. I just don't think they do well in full sun. They've got to have that partial shade, but they do make just a beautiful, you know, aisleway here. And yeah, and you'll find them mostly in forests, and they are native to North America, and you really find them all the way down Appalachia, and I think they even grow like Maine all the way down to Georgia. Not sure if they're found in Florida. I'll have to double check that. But you can see, I mean, I don't know if you want to show them how many Spicebushes are in this area. And this is, our pasture is just right up here. Yep. And then this slopes down to the creek is right there. Yeah, so there's some small ones growing right along the fence line, which those will have to be cut because they will grow into the fence, and it's electric fence, so you can't have it shorting out. But got one here. This is another one, and there's 3 more right behind it. So there's no shortage of Spicebush around here, and plenty right behind you too. Yes, really cool plant. Now, the Cherokee Native Americans really prized this plant, and they taught the settlers to prize this plant as well. And they used it for multiple things. So this is not only medicinal, but you can use it as a spice, which we'll get into in just a second. You're doing the North Carolina hello. They're bad. They're like right in my face here. So, so the Native Americans used this for coughs, colds, measles. It was really prized for its diaphoretic properties to break fevers. They also used it, they would create a tonic or a salve from the berries and use that for arthritis. The bark is antifungal, so it can be used for athlete's foot, and it has been used successfully to treat athlete's foot. So there's a lot of uses to this plant. And as I mentioned before, if you take a leaf off and you crush it, it has a spicy scent to it. The berries do as well.
So they use this to spice food. Now the berries are a substitute for allspice, and the bark is actually a substitute for cinnamon. It's got a very light cinnamon taste. Yeah. So really versatile bush.
So we will be testing that out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like we were talking about earlier, there are so many of these and they're so prolific that you don't have to worry about cutting down a few twigs because you can see how prolific they grow. Yep. I know, weren't you talking about like there was a whole cinnamon tree issue several years ago?
You know, 10, 20, while back there was a kind of a public outcry that cinnamon trees were being destroyed because it's the bark of the tree, and I don't think that ever amounted to anything, but if there was some kind of a cinnamon shortage, well, you can grow it at home, depending on where you are. You know, our friends out in Arizona, I don't think Spicebush is going to do real well there.
No, no.
All right, well, as you can see, we've moved, and look, more Spicebush. Got it all over the place. So, and dang, right into my eyeball.
They like you.
They love me. That's because I'm so sweet.
Yes, you're going to have to go get a mask or something.
No kidding.
Not a mask, one of those little, what do they call the hats that have the guard or whatever it's called?
Oh,
mosquito netting on it.
Mosquito net, yeah. Those are hard to breathe in.
Yes,
I have one.
Yes.
They're hard to breathe in. So, anyway, so a couple other things about the Spicebush.
Mm-hmm. They used it for internal parasites, upset stomach.
Yep. Skin conditions.
Yep, rashes, things like that.
Maybe we should make a poultice or something out of this.
Oh.
My foot. I'm still dealing with a rash on my foot. Weirdest thing. So,
yes.
And, you know, if you're out and you're worried about, you know, offending Bigfoot with bad breath, you can pull off a branch and chew on it.
It's supposed to freshen your breath.
Yeah. Bigfoot would appreciate it.
Yes.
So
you can see this is a very versatile plant. The Native Americans prized it. They taught the settlers to prize it, who learned how to use this as well. And the Spicebush has been used throughout Appalachia for decades, actually a couple of hundred years now, really.
Yep.
Really, yeah, a few hundred years since the settlers got here. And a lot of people, you know, as pharmaceuticals came in, as the big medical industrial complex came in, people really, you know, forgot about some of the advantages of Spicebush and some of the other edible weeds that we've talked about. I don't consider this a weed, but, you know, we've gone into a lot of the edible weeds. And people have forgotten about some of those properties, and I'm glad to see that there's a resurgence of Spicebush. More and more people are starting to come back to nature and come back to plants and food as medicine. And even, and I always forget this name, I think it's the Slow Food Arc of Taste actually featured the Spicebush, so that was really cool.
Yes, and I have no idea what that is, but
yeah.
But what's funny...
It's a foodie thing.
A foodie thing?
It's a foodie thing.
But it's interesting because, you know, in Arizona, I could go out in the desert and I can name every single plant. So when we got here, I asked, you know, whoever I'm riding around with or talking to, what's this, what's that? And, you know, our neighbor Larry had mentioned, oh, that's a Spicebush. And, like, it seems like an odd name. He's like, oh, no, you can use the twigs and throw it on your fire and the smoke will help flavor your food. Or you can actually just take it and, I mean, when it's green, wrap that around your meat or whatever you're cooking, and same thing, it'll kind of infuse your food with that flavor. So,
which is why it's called a Spicebush.
That's right.
Right.
But
Yeah.
It's just those kind of offhanded. Oh, that's a Spicebush. It doesn't mean anything to a lot of people, and then you start looking into it, it's like, wow, that's an incredible plant. So. Yeah,
and the berries, like we said, are used as a substitute for allspice. When the berries aren't quite ripe yet, when they're still green, they have a very peppery flavor, and the seed has like a really intense peppery flavor. So that's where a lot of that comes from. So you could actually powder the berries when they're ripe or even before they're ripe, and that's what gives the food its flavor. So hence the name Spicebush.
Yep, and you know we're going to be trying it out. So when that time of year comes, we'll certainly bring you along, because I'm real curious, because if we can make our own pepper and our own cinnamon and allspice, I mean, why not?
There's our pumpkin pies.
Why give shilling our dollar, especially when they're finding all these trace things in your spices?
Toxic metals in your spices,
yeah,
y'all.
that's a subject for a whole different video.
Yep.
But yeah, if we can get it at home, all the better.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
Yeah, let us know if you knew about the Spicebush, if you've actually used it. Actually, be really curious to know that.
Yeah. And if you have it on your property and you wanted to propagate it, you could get out your hori-hori knife, dig it up and transplant it. And if you don't have a hori-hori knife, where can you get it?
At renewedhomestead.com/shop.
Yep. I'm a horrible advertiser.
Well, and just real quick, if you did want to grow Spicebush, just remember it prefers moist soil, dappled shade, but you could grow this. It's really not particular about soil at all.
Yep.
It'll grow, so might be something you might want to put into your landscape. Like I said, beautiful flowers in the spring, gorgeous red berries in the fall.
And if you can, well, I don't know if you can see it very well, or the video at the beginning of our video, if you look, that tree bush has not been touched. That is just the natural shape of that plant. I mean, it grows beautifully, it shapes itself. Low maintenance.
Yes.
Low maintenance, as long as you're in a wet area.
Yeah. So. Well, and it'll grow in dry areas, just not as well. So, just keep it moist.
They
like you.
I'm ahead of the WEF. I'm eating bugs all the time.
not by choice.
Well, not by choice.
Yeah, comfrey root at the website, willow rooting hormone. We also have our deodorant. Safe, toxic-free, organic ingredients. You wouldn't want to, but safe enough to eat.
Yep.
So not that you'd want to.
Yep. I've occasionally used it on my lips when they get really dry and I can't find my chapstick. So
There you go.
It works. All right. Well, hope you learned something. Please comment. I mean, yeah.
And hope our audio should be working.
Yeah, and again, yes, sorry. This should have been out yesterday, and we flowed so much better yesterday. Like I said, the cinematography was great. The script writing was amazing.
Oh, yes, amazing.
And yeah, the audio cut out. So sorry it's a day later, but anyway, hopefully you learned something. And please pray for us. We're praying for all of you and your family. And anyway, take care. God bless. We'll see y'all on the next video.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.